Hi everyone, I'm Walter.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Unit 15, The Trouble with Trees. So today we are talking a little bit about climate change. And there seems to be a new, not cure, but like a way to help with climate change. And it's not actually new news. It seems that, it's a known fact that any carbon that you emit into the air can be offset by just planting just as many trees to counteract that. Now, this theory as well has got a big shot in the arm recently. So this is because a science magazine has said that this is the best way to actually counteract climate change. But like I said, we always thought that this was the way to help with climate change.
Offset.
Offset.
Shot in the arm.
Shot in the arm.
So many companies surrounding fossil fuels and heads of states that have been known for actually kind of slashing environmental protection policies and money have actually seized on this ambitious idea.
Seize on. Seize on.
One company in particular is Shell Oil, who have stated that they would invest $300 million to reduce their carbon footprint, with heavy emphasis on planting trees. So even Donald Trump got a round of applause for one of his speeches where he said that America will plant 1 million trees around the world. However, there's an interesting thing that's going on, and that is that a lot of scientists are vehemently disagreeing with this kind of plantation of trees. Vehemently.
Vehemently. There are such thing as too many trees, but do you think there are enough trees in your city, and would you like to see more?
Well, if I talk about my home city in England, there's definitely more than enough. We are outside of London, and to be honest, when you get outside of London, there's a lot of rural areas, tons of trees. But as for the city I'm living in right now, which is a capital city, unfortunately, I think there could be more trees in Seoul. It is a bit of a concrete jungle, but I know that there have been efforts to plant more trees, I do believe, and we have a nice Central Park area, I guess, which has a bunch of trees, but I definitely do miss seeing a bit of green. What about you?
Well, in Australia, there's no shortage of trees. Like 90% of Australia seems to be countryside or desert. In Korea, where I live across the road from a park that has a lot of trees around, which is great. But I have noticed that, especially within Seoul, there is this thing of whenever we see like land that hasn't been, there's no housing or anything, people want to put houses there.
Right.
So I can kind of feel a bit sad whenever I see new buildings being developed and or old buildings being knocked down and new buildings being built. I don't really like this, as you mentioned before, concrete jungle of a place that it's turning into. Talking more about trees, now, how does planting trees help lessen the effects of climate change?
Well, most people know that the biggest contributor to climate change is carbon emissions, basically. There are other pollutants and things like that, but basically, going back to my old kind of middle school days, elementary school, trees generally kind of, suck in the CO2 and exhale O2, oxygen. I do believe. So, I mean, they're just a natural kind of filter of these emissions. So, of course, we would like to believe that the more trees there are, the more healthier our planet would be. I mean, do you know any other benefits of planting trees?
As long as it doesn't become a monocultured area, I think that it can also help the environment, like produce more wildlife in that area. It attracts wildlife, and therefore usually it helps that certain area. But yes, as far as I know, planting trees, like Sam said, it just absorbs the CO2 and then exhales the oxygen from the trees. But again, that's all I know from school as well.
Right.
I should have paid more attention in school. Anyway, that wraps it up for the preview section, and we'll see you on the review section.